Namo Buddhaya. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 4 signs that you're having a toxic friendship. Now, before we discuss about these things, I have to mention and I have to say that the sole purpose of this discussion is not to attack on someone's personal life, not to criticize someone or not to judge someone, but to understand that mistakes can happen from everyone. We make mistakes, we all make mistakes, but we have to be wise when we deal with people, because the most important thing in our life is the peacefulness in our mind and the mental health. So with that in your mind, let's dive into today's video. So the first sign of a toxic relationship is they are only willing to take something from you, but they are not willing to give anything, right? Remember, when it is a friendship or if it is a relationship, it must be a give and take process. That means when you give something, they must give something back. Okay? When relationships and friendships become a one-way road, it is very painful. That is why when you spot such a friend, the first thing that you have to do is do not be too quick to judge them. Because sometimes people are going through tough times in their life, right? Sometimes they are suffering personally. They're not in a good condition to help you. So what you have to do is you have to look for the person behind the actions. You have to look for the intention behind their words. Okay? So if you really found such a sign in your friendship, what you have to do is set your boundaries. Okay? Limit your boundaries. And you have to decide whether I'm going to let this person to enter to my life or whether I'm not going to let him enter to my life. So keep that in your mind. That is the first sign. Then let's move to the second sign. The second sign is they only talk, but they are not willing to help you in actions. Okay? This is a friendship that is based only on words. Okay? They will praise you and they will be nice to you, right? They will say and they will give you promises to you, but only with the words, but not with actions. Remember, actions speak louder than words. So if it is a friendship, you must be a friend from your words as well as from your actions. Okay? That is the second sign. They only talk, but they are not willing to help you with actions. Moving on to the third sign, we have flattering friends. Flattering friends are the people who talk nice things about you in front of you. They will praise you, they will compliment you, but they are not afraid to put you down behind your back. Okay? You have to be very careful when you deal with such people. We should not hate anyone. We should not be angry with these people. What you have to do is you have to understand about the nature of people, nature of the intentions of the people, and forgive them, right? Forgive them and use your wisdom to stay away from their negativity. And that is the real meaning of kindness. To forgive someone and to stay away from people's negativity. So when you spot flattering friends, it's okay to be with them, it's okay to talk with them, but you have to be wise when you deal with such people. And finally, we have evil helpers. Evil helpers are the people who helps you in doing bad things. That means when you're about to do a bad thing, or when you're about to do a thing that is not good for your life and for your mental health, they will help you in doing it, right? They will feel your anger, they will feel your jealousy, okay? They will help you in doing bad things that brings the regret to your life, right? So you should be very careful and you should stay away from these people. So these are the 4 signs that you're having a toxic friendship. Now, why should we become so much aware of these friends and these signs? Because, do you know, our characters shaped by the people who we associate, right? There's a saying, it says, you are the average of 5 people that you are associating closely. That means we become who we associate. Therefore, surround yourself with positive people and the people who can uplift you and support you. And finally, remember that you deserve positive and healthy friendships that supports your life and your personal growth. Keep it in your mind. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. So today we are going to discuss how to deal with toxic people. So toxic people can be found everywhere in this society, right? Sometimes toxic people can be found in our family, right? Maybe they can be found in our neighborhood. Maybe we can find them as our friends. So in one way or another, we have to deal with these people. And also, we have that intention that we should not get hurt ourselves, and also we should not hurt others, right? So we need to find a way to deal with these people. So today we are going to discuss about that. So first of all, I will tell you a wonderful story that tells us how Buddha dealt with a toxic person, right? So this is a famous and well-known story. One day, a man came to the Buddha and he started yelling and insulting, and he was cursing Buddha, right? So, do you know how Buddha faced that situation? He was smiling. He didn't make any reaction. Throughout that conversation and throughout that situation, he put on a smile, a positive smile on his face, and he was looking at that person who was yelling at him very kindly, right? So he was very kind to that person. Now after some time, that person stopped yelling, right? Everything that he packed inside him was over. He was finished. Then our great teacher Supreme Buddha asked a wonderful question from him, right? Now it is totally different to the situation, right? It does not suit for the situation. Supreme Buddha asked, do you get visitors to your home? Does visitors visit to your home? Then that person was astonished and he was amazed. And he said, yes, I get so many visitors to my home. Then Supreme Buddha kindly asked from that person, do you treat them with foods and drinks? Then that person said, yes, I am treating them. Then Supreme Buddha said, what if they did not accept what you have treated, what you have given? So, for whom those foods and drinks belongs to, if they did not accept those foods and drinks? Then that person laughed in front of the Buddha and he said, so if they did not accept my treat, then it belongs to me. I will eat them. Then our Supreme Buddha, with a great and wonderful kind smile in his face, he said, same goes with this situation, man. You treated me with rude and harsh words. You treated me with anger. But I am a person who is not accepting anything that you have given to me. I will never accept those rude and harsh words that you treated me. Right? So if I do not accept anything that you have given, then everything that you gave to me belongs to you. Then you should eat it. Right? Then that person was amazed and his anger was cooled down. Then after, Supreme Buddha preached the Dhamma, his teachings to him. After that, he became a follower of our great teacher, Supreme Buddha. Now see how positively and how successfully our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, dealt with that toxic person. Now, if we were in that situation, what would be our reaction? Normally, when people yelling at us, we try to talk to them back. We try to prove them wrong, right? We try to control them with our rude and harsh words. Supreme Buddha said, if you treat with anger to the people who is treating you with anger, if you give the same thing, that means you are sharing their food and eating, right? If you become angry, that means you are sharing their treats. Remember, whenever you are in such situations, whenever you face toxic people, whenever people around you are angry, what you have to do? The first thing that you have to do is put on a positive smile to your face. Never show your sad or angry face to them. If you show that, that means you are providing what they want. Because they are coming to you expecting to hurt you. If you show them that you have been hurt, then you are unsuccessful. You provide them what they wanted. So never show your angry or sad face to them. Put on a smile. Be a positive person. Be a bigger person than him. Because when one person becomes angry, right, he becomes mentally weak. Remember, mentally weak people express their anger easily. The reason why they are expressing their anger is because they don't have a strong mentality. So you need to be the bigger guy, right? To be the bigger guy, you have to be positive, you have to smile, and you have to be motivated with virtues and morals. Okay? Be the best version of yourself. Don't try to talk to them back. That is the first thing. And also, you have to listen to what they tell, what they speak. Right? Set apart and leave behind the person. Don't care about the person. Care about what they say. Right? Sometimes they may be yelling at you because of a mistake that they think that you have done, but in reality, sometimes you haven't done it. So what you have to do? You have to listen to that and understand what they say. Right? Give a big attention to what they say. Right? So if they complain you about a mistake or something else, then you have to think, is that mistake prevails in my life? Right? Is that mistake is inside my life? Have I done that mistake really? Right? If you have done some mistake and if that is the reason that they are yelling at you, then you have to correct your mistake. But never show the face of anger or sadness. Okay? Then you have to correct it. If you haven't done any mistake, and still if they are complaining you, then don't try to prove them wrong. Because each and every time you try to prove them wrong, they may be understanding it in a wrong way. Because when our mind gets deluded or when our mind is covered by anger, normally an angry man shuts his eyes and ears and he opens his mouth. Right? He cannot see anything, he cannot listen to anything, he cannot hear anything. So what you have to do? Don't try to prove them wrong. Stay silent. Silence can give many answers to problems. right? So if you need to prove them wrong with your success, not with your words, right? That is how we do it. So you have to set apart the person and listen to what they say. If you have done a mistake, correct it. If you haven't done a mistake, leave it behind. Don't care about that. So the best practice that you can do to generate and to have this skill is to practice the mind of loving kindness. Right? If you love yourself, you will never like to make yourself angry. If you love yourself, then you will have the opportunity to love others. And if you love others, you will never try to hurt those people with rude and angry words. So practice loving kindness, practice compassion, right? Love, compassion, care, these things can provide many answers to the problems that pop up in our life. So you always need to be kind. You always need to be humble. And also remember, being humble is not being weak. You need to be positive, right? You need to have a good skill to handle these situations. Now this can be done by visualizing to yourself that how I'm going to face such a situation. If you can visualize that a situation like that now, and if you can imagine in your mind how I'm going to face it, right? If you can see that you are having a good smile on your face, and if you are listening to those people, and you are handling that situation very successfully, then that visualization will help you to deal in a real situation like that. So practice that, right? That is how we deal with toxic people. Never provide what they want. When they come to you, they need the anger from you. They need to hurt you. So don't provide that. If you did not provide it, you will handle it successfully. So I wish you all, may all of you have that wonderful skill to deal with the toxic people successfully. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be answering a question from the comments. So the question is, please tell us how to be mentally strong. We need it very much. So let's talk about this today. How to be mentally strong and how to develop a strong mindset. Well, first of all, let's take a look at what is a strong mindset is. Now, just take a look at this Dhammapada verse from the Buddha. The Buddha said, Selo yatha ekagano vatenana samirati evang ninda pasangsasu nasami janti pandita. As a rock that is unshaken by the storm, so too the wise are unshaken by the praise and the blame. Now, have you seen these big masses of rock? No matter how fast the wind blows, it is not shaken. The Buddha said, same like that rock, the wise people, they are unshaken by the praise and the blame in their life. And that is a strong mindset. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips that you can practice to build up a strong mindset. Tip number 1 is to maintain a stable mindset in ups and downs in life, right? You know, life is like an ocean. Sometimes ocean is calm and quiet and peaceful, and sometimes it is stormy, right? We face ups and downs in life. The Buddha said these are called 8 worldly conditions, attaloka dhamma. That means praise and blame, gain and loss, fame and disgrace, and pleasure and pain. These are the 8 worldly conditions that we face in our life. Remember these things. So, Buddha said, accept these ups and downs in life. Whenever people criticize you, whenever people blame you, whenever you go through tough times in your life, If you can be mindful about your mind and your emotions and your feelings, and not to chase after these emotions and feelings, then you can be more stable in these situations. You can maintain a good emotional balance in these situations. So it is very important to be mindful and to practice the self-awareness in these situations. And also remember, you will not be able to always get the sweet comments and sweet opinions and sweet experiences in your life. Life will give tough times to you. Life will throw lemons at you. So you have to maintain a stable mindset whenever you go through these situations by practicing the mindfulness and the self-awareness. Remember that. Tip number 2 is to build the resilience inside the mind. The resilience means the ability to stand up and bounce back when you go through the adversities and when you go through the challenging situations in your life. To practice this, one thing that you have to know and one thing that you have to understand is that what is in your control and what is not in your control. If you have a good understanding about what is in my control in my life and what is not in my control in my life, right? For an example, if people comes up to you and if they're starting to criticize you, those criticisms, those words that other people speaks about you is not under your control. But what is in your control is your reaction to them. It is always a choice. You can think about this like, should I become angry with this? Should I take this negativity? Should I share this negativity with them and be negative as them? If you can question like that, then you're not ready to take that negativity. And also remember, having a strong mindset does not mean that you're falling down and you're feeling hurt and you're feeling down. Having a strong mindset means you can stand up as soon as possible when you go through these tough situations. You can quickly stand up and you can quickly retrieve back to the normal situations in your life. That is called the resilience. So to practice this, you have to have a good understanding about what is in your control in your life and what is not in your control. The experiences happens to you and the things that people say to you, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts about you is not under your control. But all the things that is inside your mind, your opinions about them, your reaction to those experiences, totally under your control. So if something is not under your control, you don't want to worry about it because you cannot make any change about it. But if something is under your control, definitely you can make a change about it. You can change your choice, but not others. So remember that. And also you have to cultivate a problem-solving mindset. If you're easily panicked by the problems, or if you're easily triggered by the problems, then it is not easy to solve the problems, right? But if you can maintain a calm and a peaceful mindset, even when you go through the problems or tough situations in your life, then it is very easy to go into the roots and solve the problems. Sometimes we take the problems as ourselves. Like we think, we are the anger, I am this problem, why is this happening to me, right? Remember, everything that happens to you will be impermanent. It is not permanent thing, right? It will be changed one day. So what do you have to do? Keep that problem aside and try to dive into the roots of that problem. Ask from yourself, why this thing happened to me, right? What is the reason for this, right? What is the real reason for this? Where did I make the mistakes? And go to that problem, go to the root, and then you can solve that problem. That is how you build up a problem-solving mindset. And finally, tip number 3, last but not least, you have to practice a mindset of self-love and self-compassion. Remember, if you're loving yourself, if you truly love yourself, you're not going to take other people's negativity with you, right? You're not ready to take other people's negativity with you. Whatever the thing that comes up to you, whatever the person comes up to you and like bring their negativity with you, you say, well, I'm not going to take this negativity with me. I want to be peaceful. I want to love myself. I truly love myself. Therefore, I'm not ready to take your negativity. I'm not sharing this negativity with you. That is called self-love and self-compassion, right? To practice this, you can adopt a simple practice that you can do it daily, right? When you get up early in the morning, just sit on your bed and think, no matter what happens during the day, I am going to love myself. I'm not going to take any negativity from this world, right? I'm going to empty my bin and I'm going to take a new bin to this world, right? Do you know if you've kept all the bad things and trash in your bin for a long time, what will happen? If you're in your trash bin, it will start to smell, no? But if you remove every single day all the trash in your bin and make it make it a clean place, then it's very easy to live. It's very easy to be peaceful within. So practice the self-compassion and self-love to build a strong mindset. Some people think that the people who are easily lose their temper, some people think that people who show their toughness and rudeness, they have this strong mindset. But no, anger and showing this negativity is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness, right? If you are easily triggered by people, if you're easily triggered by the people's reactions, then it's not a strong mindset. The strong mindset is the mindset that is not disturbed by the ups and downs in your life. So practice these simple steps, right? Build a stable mindset, make your mind a resilient one, and finally, love yourself more than any other person in this world. When you practice these steps, you can build up a mindset that is unshaken by the ups and downs in your life. So I wish you all, may all of you find the happiness in your life. A quick question. Are you having sleepless nights because of these heavy loads of thoughts that are coming and looping inside your mind? Or are you someone who is imagining the worst case scenarios all the time whenever you're going to do something new? Or are you someone who is worrying about what other people will think of me? Well, if you are such a person, you might be overthinking. So let's find out a way where we can get out of our head and quit overthinking and get the works done. So what we can do for this? Well, the first and the foremost thing that you have to do is to realize that overthinking is not going to help you in the process, right? You can plan, you can analyze, but do not overdo it. If you are over planning, if you are over analyzing, it's not going to help you, right? It will distract you from the process. The first thing that you have to realize is that overthinking is not going to help you. The second thing, you can practice to be mindful. Now, this is a practice that you can do to stop overthinking, to be mindful, to practice the mindfulness. So how can we practice the mindfulness? So there are many ways that our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us to be mindful. One of them is to be mindful about the breathing pattern, which we call anapanasati. Right? When you become more mindful about this inhale and exhale, your mind instantly comes to the present moment. Right? Now you're only thinking about inhale and exhale. You're being mindful about that. Now, instantly, you reduced these thousands and thousands and looping thoughts to two thoughts. What are those two thoughts? Inhale and exhale. So when you're thinking like that, and when you become mindful, normally, automatically, you will find the peacefulness and you will stop overthinking about these things, right? So whenever you catch yourself overthinking, what you have to do, take 3 deep breaths in and out, right? And just stay for a while by being mindful about your breathing pattern. Or you can be mindful about your body, right? You can ask from yourself that, how am I sitting now, right? What am I doing now? And you ask these things from yourself, you can answer these things like, I'm sitting now. You can recognize. When you do these things, you can be mindful. If you're mindful, your mind is in the present moment. And when your mind is in the present moment, your mind is in the peacefulness. There's a saying, and it goes like this. If you're sad, then your mind is in the past. If you're anxious, your mind will be in the future. But if you are peaceful and if you are still, your mind is in the present moment. So start living in the present moment, right? When you live in the present moment, when you live right here, right now, you can be more peaceful and you can stop these overthinking patterns, right? And also, there's another part of overthinking. What is that? The what if question, right? So many people ask from them that, what if this happened? What if this not happens, right? What if everything that I did was wrong? They are constantly thinking about these things like that, right? They are imagining these worst case scenarios. So, I must say something about them, right? So, if you're thinking this what if question again and again, you can ask from yourself, what if everything that I did was okay? You can be positive. What if everything that I've planned and I've done was really great? So that can happen. There is always many possibilities for your plans to go okay. So don't be negative. Always think, I'm not going to be perfect, right? I cannot be perfect, but I can be the best version of myself. I can do my best. I must do my best. And be positive and go for it and take risks. Without taking risks, we cannot be successful in our lives. So practice these things, right? Be more mindful, right? Be more kind to yourself. And always think that if I overthink, if I constantly worry about myself, it will kill the peacefulness of my life. So I hope this video gave some light to your life. So be peaceful and be mindful and get out of your head and start doing the works that you haven't done. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Today we are going to discuss about a question that has been mentioned in the comments. The question is how to remain peaceful and calm under stressful situations. Coming right up. Stressful and difficult situations are the situations that we all have faced in all of our lives. But many of us face these situations in an unsuccessful way. Under difficult circumstances, under stressful situations, we become depressed, sad, and anxious. So, how to remain calm and how to maintain your inner peace under these circumstances? So first of all, we have to know and we have to learn and we have to observe what is the situation. Remember, there is a common nature in all the experiences and situations that we face in our life. What is this? What is that common nature? That is called the impermanence. Whatever we encounter and whatever we experience in our life, soon after that has been experienced, it becomes impermanent. Isn't that right? Yes, it is. Now imagine someone is complaining to you about a mistake that you have done or maybe you haven't done, right? So he's yelling at you, right? So in that moment, when the people complain and blame at us, we become depressed, we become sad. But what is the nature of that situation? What is the nature of those words, those rude words? Now soon after we hear them, they become impermanent, right? Soon after you hear them, they will no longer prevail in our life. They are gone. That means everything that we encounter in our life, experience in our life, they become impermanent. That is the nature. But the real problem is that our mind clings to those experiences, and there's a nature in our mind that it creates again and again those experiences inside. Now, for an example, as I mentioned before, when someone blames us, right? Now we know that soon after that we got the blame, the words are gone, they have become impermanent. But what our mind does, it creates those words again and again. We think those rude words again and again, and we become sad and depressed. But the real nature is, those words are gone, they have become impermanent, right? So that is the nature. Understanding about the impermanence, understanding that these experiences and all the things that we face in our life are impermanent is very important to face or to be calm in a difficult situation. Because you know the nature. That is the first step. We need to understand that each and everything that we face in our life is impermanent. Right? Whether you face a terrible time, it will become impermanent. It will be changed. There will be a good day. Whether you face a good time, a happy time, a wonderful time, that will also become impermanent. That is the nature. So first of all, you need to understand about this. The world is impermanent. Our life is impermanent. Nothing is permanent in this world. Not even your problems. First step. And the second step. Whenever you are in a difficult situation, whenever you are in a terrible moment, you need to practice some practices or to do something to remain peaceful and maintain your peacefulness and think of a solution to solve this problem. So how to do that? Now, many of us, during the difficult situations, we become panicked. We freak out. So it is the best thing to do during a difficult situation is to do some practices to calm our mind. So what we can do to make our minds calm? The best thing that you can do to make your mind calm and peaceful is do some meditation. Right? Do a little bit of a meditation during that stressful situation. So how to do that? The easiest meditation that you can practice within a stressful situation is to contemplate on your breath. Now, breath is an amazing thing. It changes according to the situation. Isn't that right? So when we are in a terrible moment, right? When we are in a dangerous moment, what is the nature of our breathing pattern? It becomes fast and it becomes shorter. We take short and fast breathing patterns, right? So what is the nature of our breathing pattern? That when we go to sleep, what do we do normally? I think most of you have experienced this. when you go to bed and when you lie down, you take a deep breath in and let it go. That is a sign that your body shows that you're going to rest. So if you need to become peaceful and serene and tranquilized, you need to restructure your breath. So in a difficult and terrible and stressful situation, just take deep breaths in. You can do it. Breathe in deeply and let it go. And contemplate on the pattern of your breathing. Now you can do this, but this needs a little bit of a practice. Right? You cannot do it without a practice. First of all, you need to practice this. Now some people may question, now I cannot do this in a difficult situation. Yes, you cannot do it because you don't have that practice. First of all, you need to practice this contemplation and this practice where there is no stressful situations. Right? That is the thing. The nature of these practices is that if you do it whenever there is no problem, then it will help you to practice that way or the situation or that remedy during a stressful situation. There's a great saying that it says, if you sweat during the times of peace, you will bleed less during the times of war. That means if you practice during the times of peaceful situations and where there is no stressful situations, it will help, that practice will help you to face the difficult situations. So, practice at least 5 minutes a day to contemplate on your breath. Right? You can feel the way that you are breathing. Right? It will help you to tranquilize your mind. Supreme Buddha said, Vitakku paccedaya anapana sati bhavetappa. If you need to stop the chattering mind, if you need to stop the thoughts that are popping up all the time that inside your mind, just practice the anapanasati, or which we call the breathing meditation. Just contemplate on the breathing meditation. When you contemplate your mind on this breathing pattern, right, you're focusing your mind to inhale and to the exhale. That means your mind jumps from one thought to another, but there is only two thoughts. Inhale and exhale. You're not thinking about anything else. Right? That means you reduced thousands and millions of thoughts to two thoughts. So that is a big thing. So if you do it as a practice, you will feel that your mind will become more and more peaceful and tranquilized. So whenever you face a difficult and stressful situation, try to take deep breaths, few deep breaths in and let them go. And it will make you feel better. Right? So if you need to face a difficult situation, if you need to face a stressful situation successfully, you have to be ready for that situation where there is no stress. So that is how you face the difficult situations without being distracted. And also, as an extra thing, you have to practice the love and kindness. And also, you have to practice the forgiveness. If you can practice these great qualities like compassion, love, and kindness, especially forgiveness, you can maintain your peacefulness. Because when you forgive people, as an example, when you forgive people, that means you are letting go of them. Right? The more you forgive, the more you will feel the peacefulness within. But forgiveness does not mean that you are going to fall into the same trap again and again for them. You forgive for yourself, and you know that person, and you can stay away from them in a positive way, and you can still be kind to them. Because kindness and forgiveness starts within your heart, and it will help you always. So practice these practices in the times where there are no stress and disturbing situations. And one day, when you master them, one day you can maintain your peacefulness within yourself without being distracted. One of our viewers have asked from us a question that how can I practice letting go in my life? How can I practice the ability of letting go in my life? So this special video is dedicated for him as well as for all of you who have the same question within yourself. We need to realize a real reality in our life to have this ability in our lives. And that is, the whole world is out of our control. First of all, you need to realize that. The whole world that you live in this around you is out of your control. People, situations, experiences, and other people's opinions, the things, all the things are out of your control. Remember that. Is that true? Yes. Now, when you take people, can you control people according to all the wishes that you have? No. Can you control the situations that you face in the future? No, you don't know about that. Right? Can you control the experiences that you face in the future? You cannot do that. And also, can you control the things around you according to your wish? No, you cannot control that for 100%. Right? So, first of all, you need to realize this real truth. The whole world is out of our control. But there is something that is within our control. What is that? That is our reaction towards them, our response towards those experiences. Right? So that is what in your control. Right? So normally, it is very hard to let go of the things or the people from our lives, because there is a nature of our mind that it has the clinging effect. Our mind likes to grasp the things and the people and the experience that we see. That is what we call the upadana. Supreme Buddha said, Yankinchi dukkhang sambhoti sabbang upadana pacchaya. If there is any suffering which arises in our life, that is because of the clinging of our mind towards them. Right? Now, it is very hard to let go of the anger. Right? It is very hard to let go of the sadness. Right? Now, people would like to let go of the hard situations in their life. Right? But our mind is not ready for that. There's a special effect that it always wanders in those difficult situations, sad situations, in anger and evil thoughts. Right? It is very hard to let go of those things. But remember, all the things that we experience in this world, all the people that we meet in this world, right? All the things that we have in this world, one day we have to let go of these things. Even though we cannot let go of the things today, one day, at the end of our life, we have to say goodbye to all these things. Right? But there is something that we take from this life. What is that? The things that we did according to those stimulations. our reactions towards those experiences, our reactions towards those people. So if we collect that karma, right, that is the only thing that we can take from this life. That is the thing that only we own in this life. So we have to remember, first of all, that the world is out of our control, right? Things may fade away from our life. People may fade away from our life. And also, if you are going through a hard situation, difficult situations, remember, it will also fade away from your life, because everything in this world is impermanent. Nothing is there is permanent, right? Nothing is permanent, not even your problems, and also remember, not even your sweet memories, sweet times, beautiful times. Everything is impermanent. So when the things are fading away from our life, right? When the people are walking away from our life, do not hold on to them. The problem we suffer is that we are holding on to those things, right? The more we hold on to things, the more we will suffer, right? The more we hold on to the things, the more we will suffer. Right? It is like you are keeping a red hot iron ball on your palm, right? The more you hold on to that iron ball, that red hot iron ball, remember, you are the one who is getting hurt. You are the one who is suffering. But if you let go of that, you are not suffering anymore. So what you have to do is realize the reality of impermanence. Every person, everything, every experience, every situation is impermanent. So when those things are being impermanent, you can be happy by seeing the reality, because you have expected that thing in your life, because you know that these things are impermanent in my life, right? When the things are fading away, just don't hold on to them. Let them fade away. Let them go away, right? Don't hold on. The more you hold on, the more you will suffer. So that is how we let go of the things in our life, right? If you let go of the things, when the things are walking away from our life, you can be happy, right? You can be positive always, and you can maintain your inner peace within you. So don't hold on to things, don't hold on to anger, don't hold on to people, because everything is impermanent in this world. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control our negative emotions and how to control our mind. Well, the nature of our mind is it always likes to wander in negative emotions and negative thoughts. Negative thoughts like anger, desire or lust, or then jealousy, maybe resentment. These are the negative thoughts that our mind likes to wander in. So how can we control it? Well, our great teacher Supreme Buddha introduced us a gradual training where you can practice this controlling of negative emotions or negative thoughts in your mind. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce them to you. So first and foremost, before getting into these steps, there is one thing that you have to practice, and there is one thing that you have to master, and that is awareness. If you are not aware of what you're thinking, if you are not mindful about what you're thinking, then you cannot control it. So you have to totally understand and you have to totally be aware of what you're thinking. Okay? So whenever you become aware of what you're thinking, then you will have that power to control it. So here comes the first step. Buddha says, whenever you become aware of your mind is wandering in negative thoughts like anger or lustful thoughts or resentment or jealousy, the first thing is to shift your thought pattern to something wholesome. There are some wholesome thoughts in your mind which makes you peaceful. Maybe like thinking of something that you have done in the past, like maybe you helped someone. Whenever you think that thought, your mind becomes happy and peaceful. So what you're going to do is, whenever you become aware of your negative thoughts, we're going to shift our thought pattern to something that is wholesome, something that makes us peaceful. So that is the first thing that Buddha says. Shift your thoughts to wholesome thoughts. If that first step did not work out, then what you have to do, go for the next step. What is that? Buddha says, think about the disadvantages of thinking negative emotions, right? If you are constantly having angry thoughts, then you have to think, these thoughts are hurting myself and others. If I take actions according to these thoughts, it will hurt myself and the others. Remember, it may be a little thought of anger, but if it grow up, what will happen? It will be destructive. So what do you have to do? Think about the drawbacks or disadvantages of thinking these negative thoughts. Then, whenever you see these disadvantages, your mind will tend to stay away from these negative thoughts. Most of the time, we are not aware of these disadvantages. Okay? So what do you have to do? Think. If I keep on thinking these negative thoughts, it is not going to help me. It will disrupt my peacefulness. Right? That is the second step. Then as the third step, Buddha says, pay no mind, pay no attention. If the second step did not work out, go for the third step, to not to pay any attention to that thought. Right? See, whenever we give so much attention to something, maybe a thought, it grows again and again, it grows more, right? For an example, if you became angry with someone and if you keep thinking about him again and again and becoming angry, that anger will grow more and more. So what do you have to do? We have to let the thought be a thought without paying much attention, right? When you just stay away from giving attention, then it will fade away from your mind. It's something like this. Have you seen little babies, when they fall down, they start to cry, right? If the parent or the mother or father see that it is not a big deal of falling, if mother or father did not give any attention to that baby, what does he do? He just don't care about that. He will stop crying. Same thing goes with our mind. If we did not pay any attention to that thought, right? If we did not care about that thought and just let it go and let it pass away from our mind, then it will fade away. That is one way of doing that. If the third step did not work for you, then the Buddha says, go for the fourth step, to relax your thought process, right? Now remember, when you think negative thoughts, your mind becomes so much busy, so much rough and distracted. So, what you're going to do is, you're thinking, why am I thinking these distractive thoughts, these negative thoughts that are making me so much busy and making me distracted, right? So, what you're going to do is, you're relaxing your thought process to something very soft and subtle. Maybe like loving kindness, maybe like compassion, right? Maybe like gratefulness. When you think those thoughts, when you think more positive thoughts, your mind or your thought process becomes so much relaxed. And then if the fourth step did not work for you, then it comes the final step. This is something that we have to do with a great care. I do not recommend for everyone to do this. This should be done with a great experience and a good practice, right? And that is to crush your thought with awareness, right? You have to be totally aware of your thinking pattern and have a good determination to your mind that I am not going to think these negative thoughts. right? But this should not be done by everyone, right? Some may be not good at this, right? If you keep on becoming aware and if you keep on forcing this mind, it will grow more and more these negative thoughts. So if all those 4 steps did not work for you, then you have to go for the final step, right? So it is much better to practice these 4 thoughts before doing the final one. Okay, so practice these things. When you practice, you will feel and you will understand that your negative emotions are fading away little by little. Remember, this is not going to happen overnight. It will take a long time to do this, but you have to keep on practicing. Keep on doing it, make it a habit, and then you will become a master of it. So practice this practice and make your mind a place where free from negative thoughts. Namo Buddhaya.